Take two. I just did this whole video with the microphone off. So this is day number 20 in our ketosis and fasting experiment for survival, not for health or how I look. And so we have some good news and we have some Cuba news. So first we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to see you on the other side. So me and Freedom are outside. It snowed yesterday. It's been raining for a couple days. It's super muddy, but for this brief tiny moment in time while there are big gray clouds coming at me, I came outside because I have some good news and I have another thought to share with you. So yesterday was particularly depressing. We were all closed in. It was snowing, it was rainy, it was cold. And I got to tell you, this ketosis or ketone-based diet, I don't like it. I probably won't continue it after this experiment, but a couple really good things happened. So part of why I'm doing this is I want my body to be super flexible. I want two sources of fuel. I want to be able to use glucose, ketones, or both. And right now at day 20, I am not fully converted, so I'm still using both. But one of the things I repeatedly hear is when people introduce any carbohydrates, their body kind of whiplashes and they get a headache and they feel foggy and their body gets knocked out of ketosis. Well, interestingly enough, yesterday I decided to go ahead and take it for a dry run. Even though I'm not fully converted, I wanted to experiment. And the good news is I didn't have a headache, I didn't get foggy, and I didn't have a headache this morning. Didn't really change the way I felt one way or the other. And because yesterday was a crummy day, I just felt crummy. But I didn't feel crummy this morning. And this morning, I think I stopped eating yesterday about 3:30. And I probably had closer to 100 carbohydrates yesterday. I had some crackers and I had some sugar in my tea that I thought for sure I'd be knocked out of ketosis. But this morning, after stopping eating at 3:30 until I think I tested it like 6 a.m. this morning, I was still producing trace ketones. And right now it's about 10 o'clock and I'm actually back to that low level of ketones that I've been at pretty much consistently. To produce a lot of ketones, you have to put your body in pretty hardcore starvation mode. And that's not my goal. I don't want to traumatize my body to achieve something. Plus it throws my hormones out of whack, but you saw that in the previous video. So that's the good news. The second thing I wanted to talk about is what's going on in Cuba. And right now there's an article saying that Cuba is in the process of putting forward there's food shortages in Cuba right now due to the embargoes and to the some of the things that are going on. And there's two things about Cuba. One is they import 2/3 of their food. Two, they had back in 2000, it's called what's Cuba Special Period. And what that was when the U.S. put sanctions on their ability to bring in oil, and Russia was no longer able to provide oil, which provided them the cash to bring in additional foods. This whole magical thing happened over there. Now, I'm sure there's bad guys and all that other stuff, but it wasn't Road Warrior scenario. It was actually a really powerful experiment and example. People started walking and riding their bike. People began growing food like crazy. And most importantly, they began sharing and socializing. They were reconnecting over their meals, which means that like one person would bring lemonade, another person would bring a salad. But it proves to you that just because things are uncomfortable doesn't mean everybody diverts into guns and isolationism like we like to think happens in America. And maybe it will in America, I don't know. But that I think is really important. And there's some lessons there. One is they import 2/3 of their food, meaning they are vulnerable if they can't import. Right now in America, we import, I think, over 30% of our food. But in addition to that, many of our food production facilities are owned by China and other countries to export food to their country. so we don't have access to that. And third, I don't know how many of you know this about ranching and farming, but one bad season like you're seeing everywhere right now, you lose the farm or you lose the ranch. Corporations come in and buy it for pennies on the dollar and then become corporate production factories, selling oftentimes and exporting off seas. So if you think that we're never going to have a food shortage or famine or issues in America, good luck with that. So that brings me to one, you want to look up Cuba's special period, and two, why I'm doing this. And it isn't about I want to be part of the cool ketosis club. I could care less. In fact, I pretty much know I won't sustain this level after the fact. I'm going to be able to, my goal is to flex back and forth because I want three options. I want pure glucose, I want pure ketones, and I want mixing ketones and glucose to function and survive. Because if I'm driving a car and I could run it on diesel, or I could run it on leaded fuel or unleaded fuel, and I could run it on vegetable oil, I would want that car. So all I'm trying to do is teach my body to operate on three combinations of fuel. That is my primary goal. So here we are on day number 20. I wasn't really going to do many of these videos because from the responses, nobody can understand what I'm trying to do. But I was really excited that I could push the boundaries this morning, not have a huge rebound effect, and still keep moving this process forward in a more real life scenario, because I'm not doing this by going to the grocery store and buying cream. The sun is coming out a little bit. By buying cream and bacon and avocados and all these yummy high-fat foods that people are doing that will not be available if things go wonky. I'm trying to do this the hard way, meaning I only have access to a little bit of different foods here. I don't have the money to buy all the complicated fancy stuff. And so that means I fluctuate in and out. Sometimes I have to eat more protein, or I'm hungry a little bit. So I'm trying to do this as real life as possible, because my goal isn't to be right. My goal is to get ready. So that's what we're doing here. That's what I'm doing across everything. It's not, I'm not doing all this because I want to be right. I'm trying to get ready because I think it's a real thing that's coming down the pike. So with that, we're going to take a deep breath, and who knows when we'll check in next, but I had a bit of good news. I could get out of the trailer for 5 minutes. Woohoo! And with that, we'll see you next time. All right, babe, let's see. I hope that one worked.